Yo, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? This is your coach Renz, and in this video, we're going to talk about living a life without regrets, but dying with regrets. The divine paradox of that subject. Now, where this comes about is the fact that just over 2 years ago, my father passed away. Now, prior to my father passing, I hadn't started developing a relationship with my dad until I was an adult. When I was a kid, I did not grow up with my father. He lived in another state. I didn't get to see him that often. I didn't get to talk to him that often. We didn't start developing our relationship until I was an adult. But even at that, it was a slow making of a relationship. It wasn't until we lived in the same city that our relationship started to actually blossom into a father-son relationship. But in his last few weeks of his life, neither one of us knew, or at least I didn't know, that he was about to pass on. But in those last few weeks, he started to express to me some of his biggest regrets in life. He expressed to me that one of his biggest regrets is that although he was a father to other children, he was not a father to me when I was a young man, that he wasn't part of my development into becoming a man. He expressed to me that he regretted not being fully enveloped in a love relationship. Now he was married a couple of times and they were great women, but they weren't the type of women that he could just really adorn all his affection on and it would be returned. So he regretted not being in an overwhelmingly loving relationship. And then the final one, he regretted that he didn't build his company the way he always wanted to build it, that he always allowed other people to interfere with it, whether it was the accountant who stole money or it was allowing people who didn't believe in his vision to be a part of his company. It was things like that that he regretted. And there was a certain look on his face a few weeks before he passed on that will be forever ingrained in me. And I saw that look twice. I saw that look when he was telling me about his regrets. And then when he had his multiple strokes, I saw that look again on his deathbed. The last time I saw him and he was conscious but he wasn't able to speak, I saw that look again. If you didn't know my father and if you were of religion, you would have looked on his face and thought that he was in a moment of fear for his life, a moment of fear of death. But it wasn't a fear of death that was on my father's face. It was the fact that he knew he was about to pass on from this existence to another existence, but haven't fulfilled what it is that he wanted to do in this life. That has stuck with me for the last 2 years. In the past, I've allowed myself to engage in things that replicates my father's life. Even though I did not grow up with him, that 25% of genetics, I've replicated similar things in my life. And over this weekend, I went to see the Black Panther movie for the second time. And one of the things I realized from watching the movie is that it was said to T'Challa by Nakia, "You are not your father's decisions, that you decide the king that you're going to be." That line, coupled with many other aspects of the movie, and the fact that earlier that day I was having a moment of missing my father, I was having a moment of remembering that image, that face that he made, that look that he had when he looked at me when I walked into his room. That made me realize that I cannot die with certain regrets, but that I will die with some regrets. You see, I thought about it, and many people, and I was told a while back that it became popular to say that I want to die empty. I want to die empty. I want to die having done everything that I've ever desired to do, and I want to die empty. Well, I'm going to tell you this. There's a paradox there. I don't want to die empty. I can't die empty. I can't leave this existence empty, because if I leave this existence empty, then that means that I've left so much undone. That means that I've stopped reaching out and trying to achieve more and trying to be more and see more and do more. That means that there are other people out there that I haven't helped out. There are other people out there that I haven't tried to help them lead their lives in a better way. That my children, that I haven't given them everything, that I haven't been there for them for a lot more. See, if I die empty, then that means at some point, I said, that's enough. Good job, I'm done. But that means that I haven't still provided for my children. That means that I haven't still provided for my future wife. That means that I haven't provided more business opportunity for people, that I haven't helped out more people around the world. That means that there are mountains that I haven't climbed, that there are places I haven't been, foods that I haven't eaten. You see, I don't want to die empty. To die empty means that you stop. You stop reaching out for goals. You stop adjusting. You stop creating. You stop manifesting. See, I never want to die empty. I build a business, I want to build it bigger. I build a business in this industry, I want to go and build a business in another industry. I show my family this piece of land. We go to India one time, let's come back again and see something else. Let's go and see this waterfall in Portland. Let's go down to Brazil and go through the rainforest. Oh, we haven't been to Mardi Gras in Sao Paulo, but we've been to the one in Brazil, but we haven't been to the one in Salvador. You know, let's keep going, let's keep seeing, let's keep doing. And if they build something on the moon, let's go see that too. You see, I don't ever want to be empty. You never want to be empty. You always want to be striving for something better. There's still books that I haven't read. There are still subjects I haven't studied. You always want to be engaging your mind, engaging your body, and engaging your spirit. Can I get this body back to the way it was when I was in amateur bodybuilding? Can I get that back? Or can I make it better? Now that I have more, can I make it better? You see, there's always something that you can strive for, and that's why I never want to die empty. But that look on my father's face said that there are some primary things that must be satisfied. That my relationship with my children must be satisfied. That raising my son and raising my sons, raising my daughters, that those things must be done. That being totally immersed in a loving, romantic relationship, that must be done. Having the woman that desires me as much as I desire her, that must be a reality for me. Being so intimately entwined with one another that we can't help but to touch and feel and be affectionate to one another, that must be done. To be in a situation where whatever her desires are and whatever my desires are, that we're trying to fulfill those, whatever her goals are and whatever my goals are, that we stand together strong, building and holding each other up to fulfill whatever it is that we desire to have in life. That must be done. I can't die without that happening. I can't die still searching for that twin flame soulmate. I can't die still looking for my divine soulmate. I can't. I won't have that look on my face knowing that that's something that has eluded me. In business, I can't die without building a $1 billion company. I can't die without making some of my companies household names around the world. I can't die without my companies being so strong that they're easily passed on for the next 5 to 10 generations. I can't die. I can't leave that unfinished. I can't look at my son's face, my daughter's face, and have that same look that my father had. Because if I do, then I'll pass that on to them. So I can't die with that unfinished business, with that regret. You see, I'll die not finishing everything. But some of those things I cannot die. Some of those primary things I cannot die without them. I cannot die without the accomplishment of them. But here's the thing, and I'm sure somebody's gonna say this in the comments. You never know when you're going to die. You never know when your time is up. And you're right, I don't. Which means what? Which means that I gotta get up on my horse right now. That it is not something for me to achieve later in life, but it is something for me to achieve right now. That it is something that every decision that I make has to move me in those directions. That when I wake up in the morning, what am I going to pour into my children? When I wake up in the morning, what am I going to pour into my bride? When I wake up in the morning, what am I going to pour into my business? What am I willing to do to ensure that these things come to pass? To ensure that life is on my terms. You see, happiness is not you living life on someone else's terms. It's you living life based on your terms, that your environment is what you want your environment to be, that it's exactly the way you desire for it to be. I was speaking to Shay this weekend, and I was telling her that I desire to live in a place where there are plenty of parks, plenty of places to walk in nature. We may be surrounded by the city and the airplanes and construction somewhere over there, but I need to be in a place where within a few minutes I can immerse myself in nature, that I can hear the birds, that I can see the squirrels, that I can see the trees and the plant life, that I need to be close to that. Being close to that creates my happy environment. Having the love of my life creates my happy environment. Pouring into my children and watching them grow into becoming, it's not so much about being productive adults as far as what the world says, but productive in their own right. That creates my happiness, my environment. See, I'll be doing that until the day I decide that it's time for me to go, and it's time for me to leave this existence. And yes, I did say when I decide. Just like my father did not conform to religious belief, and nor do I. But what I do believe, that there are consequences for every action, that there's cause and effect. And so for every effect there is a cause. And I do believe in the mental manifestation of the mind. And I believe that there is a divine creator that has set everything in place, and it is up for us to decide what is and what is not. I was speaking on a podcast last night with Kevin, and one of the things that I spoke about is the fact that the mind is incredibly powerful, that the mind can manifest whatever it is that you desire, that if you truly believe in something, truly know something, and focus on that thing, that where your energy goes where your focus flows. Yes, or however that saying goes. But I do know that wherever you focus on, whatever you decide what is, with emotion and passion and action, that's what life will be. So if you want to die without regrets, then you have to take your emotions, take your mental state, and focus it in on the actions that you're committed to, and then that will decide where your life is going to go. And it doesn't always have to be something major. I did it this morning. And this happens to me often. It's sad that this happens to me often, but this happens to me often. Oftentimes while driving, someone always wants to hit me. But in my mind, when it's happening, everything slows down. And in my mind, I tell the person who's driving the other car, I tell the other car where you're going to go and what you're not going to do. You will not hit me. You will turn over here. You will open this opportunity for me to slide through. The other night, driving down the highway going 80 miles per hour, that was the flow of traffic, but there was some idiot who was driving about 100, 110 miles per hour. I saw him coming from behind. I looked at the traffic that was around me and saw that he was going to have to slow down because there was no way for him to go. But evidently he wasn't paying attention. I recognized he wasn't paying attention by the way he was driving and coming up. And he came up and had to hit his brakes so hard that all four of his tires were like smoking. Because I recognized that, I had already positioned myself to make sure that I could escape whatever happened. I'm paying attention to everything. But in paying attention, when he came up so hard, in my mind, I was telling that guy, don't turn your wheel. That when he hit his brakes, don't turn your wheel. Because if he had turned his wheel at the rate of speed he was going in that SUV, it was a good chance that he would have flipped that car. And if he had flipped that car, the car that he would have hit could have easily careened towards me. In my mind, you will not turn that wheel. And he did not turn that wheel. Things like that happen all the time. I used to get in car wrecks. I used to have those issues. I don't have those issues. So when I say that when I'm ready to leave, I mean when I'm ready to leave. You don't have to agree, and that's fine, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And that's what you need to get inside yourself, that what you think for yourself doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Doesn't matter how they feel. If you want to do a business and you believe that business will be successful, then you do it and you focus on it. And if somebody comes along who stands there and they want to tell you how it can't be done, how it won't work, then you need to remove that person. Because when you are doing a business, the only people you need around you are the ones who say, I understand your vision. How can we make it a reality? See, there's a difference. Many of you think you support somebody when they say, oh, you know, you got this business, yeah, but it's not going to work that way. Instead of you saying it's not going to work that way, you need people who say, I see your vision. How can we make that a reality? Oh, you want to open in this community. How can we make that community work for you? You want to open this type of business. Yes, there may be big players in it, but how can we carve out a niche? How can we make this one successful, and so that how can we make this one become one of the top business? You have to remember, a company like Walmart was standing in the shadows of Woolworth. Where's Woolworth now? Was standing in the shadows of Kmart. Where's Kmart now? Was standing in the shadows of Sears. Where's Sears now? You have to understand, this was a little company that was standing in the shadows of giants. But where are those giants now? Where are they? They fell. So when somebody tells you that your business, when somebody tells you that your love life, when somebody tells you that your children, when somebody tells you any desire, dream, any focus that you have, that it can't work, you need to remove them from that space. They may be somebody in your family. You may not remove them totally from your life, but from that space, remove them, because you have your dreams, you have your goals that you desire to achieve, and if someone stands in your way, then you have to remove them and put them in their proper place. Not everybody in your life can support you on everything that you do, and if they can't, then put them in their proper place. Doesn't mean leaving them, doesn't mean not ending the friendship, it could be your children. Put them in their proper place. Because at the end of the day, my father laid on that bed by himself. My father laid on that bed looking at me. His regrets were his regrets. His regrets were not mine, nor will I ever let them be mine. The lesson my father was trying to tell me was to live my life fully. Live my life going and achieving the things that I desire to achieve. What he was trying to teach me was that this is my life and no one else's. That he gave up on so many of his desires and dreams to please other people. And I've done the same. But he was trying to tell me no more. Because when you do, you end up on a bed looking at your children with that same look of regret on your face. So I'm telling you guys, don't end up that way. Take the lesson from my father to understand that live your life to its full potential, but always seek more. Always have a goal to achieve. Even when my father was sick, he would call me and tell me about business ideas and things that he was going to do for business, different opportunities that he was recognizing and how he was going to do it and what he was going to do. Now, I knew that he was too sick to do it, but I supported him in it. I never once said, you too sick to do that. You can't go do this. You can't go do that. I would ask him and talk to him about how he can achieve it, what he needs to do to make sure it happens, how he can be successful in it. Because I was not going to kill his dream no matter what. No matter what, I was never going to kill his dream. And that's what you got to have. That's the kind of people you got to have around you. You got to go for it. You have a greatness inside of you that you don't even recognize. You've been beaten down by the world so much that it's so hard for you to see yourself doing anything too far beyond what you're doing right now. You've raised your kids and now they have personalities that you know you want to change, but you've allowed them to get in such a state that you've almost given up. You've allowed love to hurt you so bad. This woman hurt me so bad. This man hurt me so bad. What they did in this relationship, what they did in that relationship. You've allowed so much hurt and pain in your previous relationships that you now don't allow yourself the joy of truly being loved. But what's even worse, you don't allow yourself the joy of truly giving love. And that will never allow you to have that wonderful relationship that you true desire. It will never be. It can never happen until you start to let go and let love. Until you start to say that, you know, it doesn't matter what this person did in my past. It doesn't matter what that person did to me in my past. What matters is the person in front of me. What are they doing right now? What matters is the person in front of me. What am I pouring into them right now? Whether it be at work, whether it be your love life, whether it be your children, what am I pouring into right now? And what's being received back right now? Those things are vital. That's what's vital. That's what gives you love. That's what gives you success. That is going to give you everything you desire in life. You have to be willing to let go and just let love. Let go and just take the actions necessary to create and manifest the life that you desire. Until you do such a thing, then you'll die with regrets of the major things. And you'll also die with regrets of not continuously achieving the goals of your life. You see, for me, there is no option. For me, I have to do what I have to do. For me, I'll build the biggest company. For me, I'll raise the greatest children. For me, I'll have the greatest wife. For me, we'll continue to go places and do things. See, I build the business, one, because I want to have it, but mainly so I can go and I can see and we can do. So I can take my kids and I can take my bride and we can go to see the pyramids. We can go and see the whales. We can go and go into the Grand Canyon. We can go and stay at the nicest hotels. We can go and stay at the nicest homes. You know, we can go and do and eat wherever we want to eat. We can go and have what we want to have. We can go and help who we want to help. We can go and we can be who we want to be. I do all these things so that I can free myself, so I can be myself. Because my greatness is non-negotiable. And I hope that I know that you will hear this message. And in this message, you'll recognize that your greatness is non-negotiable. But in order for that to happen, you have to free yourself to be yourself. Because without being yourself, it's bad for your health.